What's up, everybody? We are live here on Pound for Pound. I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
Oh, we're flexing, huh?
Yes, yeah. There we go. We are here with a special guest, fresh off of his performance at UFC 309, as I like to say. Four-time NCAA finalist, three-time NCAA champion. And I believe, were you three-time or four-time state champion?
Three-time, just three.
Three-time state champion out of which state?
Texas, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Mr. BO NICKAL. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Represent.
A Shot of Line production.
Get back to that. Born in Colorado. Born in Colorado, moved to Wyoming, then you went to New Mexico, and then Texas, and then, if I'm getting it right, then Penn State?
Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah, a lot of moving as a kid, but, you know, my parents were always looking for good opportunities for myself and my sisters, and, you know, we weren't afraid to change locations to make that happen, and yeah, I look back on all those places with a lot of fond memories, and I was able to meet a lot of great people. So very grateful for every place I lived. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I share something with you, Kamaru? This is crazy, bro, because you have no idea how far back our relationship with Bo goes back. I mean, I want to say the first time that I met BO NICKAL, it was maybe 2006 or 2007. Him and my nephew, they're rivals growing up. And it was always BO NICKAL, man, just putting it on to everybody. And I was like, we got to get this damn kid. But I remember one time in Colorado Springs, I believe I was heading over to New Mexico, and Bo was a kid, man. I want to say I was super, super young. I know I got at least 8 years on you. But anyways, you and your family, I want to say you're maybe 12 or 13. You guys ended up giving me a ride all the way from Colorado. This is before I became Olympic champion, to New Mexico. And it was cool, man. It was cool to have a chance to be in that ride with you, your mom, and just chit-chat with you guys. So the relationship, Kamaru Usman, if you did not know, goes when this dude was a freaking kid.
Really? That's good. That's great. You know,
I didn't know
great things.
I didn't know you would remember that, but that's cool.
I do remember that,
stuff.
dude. I do remember that. It was fun.
Bro, that's I remember the highlight. That's
I remember Henry. Yeah, I remember Henry just, you know, an absolute phenom. I was like, this guy's so good, he's not even gonna go to college. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard of Henry was, you know, I heard he ducked Troy Nickerson our senior year while we was at Fargo. You know, everybody was saying, yo, Henry's gonna come to Fargo, And then we showed up at Fargo, he wasn't there. He ducked my man Troy Nickerson. I'm just saying, hey Henry, this what they said. This not what I'm saying, this is what they said.
Let him talk. Let him talk, Kamaru. It's never ending.
All right, but Bo, yeah, like a lot of, and I know we have a Texas connection because it's I also wrestled in Texas, and I found wrestling a little later. I got in really my sophomore year in high school, but quickly started to, and this was back in the day when there was one class. And started really competing. I fell in love with the sport, and which also changed my life. And you also went to, I believe you went to Allen.
Yes, sir.
Right, you went to Allen. So you know what a great program, a great dynasty that I believe Jerry West built out there at Allen, and a lot of tough guys, a lot of great wrestlers came out of that school. But you made it out, and you went over to Penn State. And just had a storied career at Penn State. I mean, to make it to the finals 4 times and to win that thing 3 times. I think, was there anyone that's made it to the finals from Penn State before you, or was Ed Ruth?
Yeah, so we had a couple guys right before me, and the dynasty was really just starting. So you know, Ed Ruth, David Taylor, Matt Brown, those were like the main guys that I looked up to, who, you know, I saw doing big things and who I wanted to really like emulate at that time.
Right. So tell me a little bit about that room, wrestling up and growing up in that program, because obviously in the sport of wrestling, you grow up and you know the name Cael Sanderson. But now you're coming out of high school, and now you're getting that opportunity to potentially go wrestle for KO. Was that an easy decision, especially knowing how deep that room is, and maybe you may or may not be able to crack that lineup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You know, for me, I looked at every single school I could. You know, I looked at Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Cornell, Nebraska, University of Virginia, Iowa. I looked at pretty much every school, and Penn State was the last school to offer me a scholarship. So I was holding out and waiting, and they actually were the only school that didn't offer me a full ride. And so I felt like it was, you know, you could kind of think of that as like, oh, like maybe, you know, this is not the place for me. But for me, it was, as soon as they offered me, I knew that was where I wanted to go, just because the culture and the guys that were on the team. And I knew that even though, you know, you compete in the Big Ten and you have such a tough team, that I knew that I would just rise to the occasion. And the tougher the environment is and the, you know, better training partners and coaches I have, the better I'm going to be. So, you know, coming to school, it was intimidating at first, for sure, you know, competing with these guys and making that massive step up. It's such a different game from going from high school to college, but I never felt like so discouraged that, you know, I didn't have that belief in myself still. You know, even though there was the first practice I wrestled Matt Brown, and I finished the workout and I realized, I was like, dang, I didn't even get a takedown the whole training session. That hadn't happened to me, and I don't even know if it ever happened to me. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But at the same time, I didn't get discouraged, and I just knew that if I kept working, kept discipline, and kept grinding, that I would, you know, just keep improving and getting better and achieve what I wanted to.
Yeah, I think with you, boy, I think what I find very, very interesting, it's almost like you grew up at a very, very young age wrestling. And for those who understand that game, it is such a hard sport. And your dad had you in every damn tournament you could possibly think of, whether if it was a kickoff, whether if it was Fargo, whether if it was any of these freestyle tournaments. Pretty much you're always and you're constantly competing. You go to Penn State, you do your whole thing, but a lot of people don't actually know this, but you spend a lot of time in New Mexico, you know, and you had a chance to see a guy I imagine you went into, you know, watching John Jones growing up, like literally seeing him in person. I mean, as a little kid, did you always feel that after wrestling, like, this is what I want to do? Obviously, I know your mom's a professional boxer. Your dad wrestled. I mean, what really kind of pushed you to that next level to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go through one Olympic quad, and then boom, I'm getting into MMA.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, you know. It's a long story. I think the love of fighting and MMA, it definitely started in New Mexico, and that's really where I feel like got tough. You know, being just in that environment, it's just such almost just like a fight culture in Albuquerque, and everybody loves fighting. It's just what people are interested in. And so for me, where I was at, like, there was just a lot of that around. And so I was super interested in it. And I realized that, like, if I wanted to survive in that, just like as a kid in wrestling tournaments and practice at school, it was like, you couldn't be weak. Like, you couldn't be a weakling. And so, you know, that just kind of brought my level of wrestling up, but it also got that interest in fighting going. And I never really did any other martial arts as a kid aside from wrestling. You know, I watched my mom box, and I saw her do that, and I saw guys like John Jones, you know, Rashad Evans, Keith Jardine, Cowboy Cerrone, all these guys doing amazing things in MMA. But I was just so focused on wrestling that it never, you know, I was never thinking about, oh, should I try jiu-jitsu? Should I try boxing? I wish I would have. If I, you know, could redo things, I would have done a little bit as a kid, you know, not a ton, but just got a little bit of experience. But it wasn't until college that, you know, I really decided, like, hey, I'm 100% going to do MMA when I'm done with wrestling. And then at that point, it was just deciding, what does the timeline look like for my wrestling career? And I decided that I didn't want to wait until I was, you know, close to 30 and then transition over. I was fortunate. I graduated in 2019. I had the Olympics right after that. So my plan was originally do the Olympics in 2020 and then transition over to MMA, but it got pushed back because of COVID. But it was still just an extra year. And then, yeah, that was kind of the plan from, I would say, like maybe my sophomore, junior year of college on, was to do one Olympic cycle and then just move into a new arena.
Yeah, which is crazy to me a bit, Bo, because dude, you're only second to the Olympic champion. Who, for those who don't know that, Bo Nickel was the Olympic alternate. I saw you first. I saw you wrestle live. I saw you wrestle. I was actually at the Olympic trials in 2020 or 2021. I'm sorry. So I had a chance to literally see you. But for those who don't know, Bo Nickel actually lost to David Taylor, who that same year became the Olympic champion. So I like it, Bo. I think obviously you've done an amazing job, dude. Be able to start off your career. I remember being 6-0. I fought in the UFC when I was when I had my first 6 fights, so I know the difficulty. But that being said, man, you've had great performances. This next fight, I feel like people are really, this last fight that you just had with Paul Craig. I thought it was a great performance. I really did, man. I really did.
Stop the cap, Henry. Don't even try to cap.
Rewind it. Rewind the damn tape, Kamaru. What did I say? It says, yeah, but I am surprised that people started booing you like that. That was just like, yeah, I was surprised, dude. I was. Bo he never went for takedowns. He kept it on his feet. I mean, of course, we could talk about things that you could have maybe done a little bit different, but you're also so eager that you're taking that step up. And I said, and I told this on Pound for Pound, I'm like, Paul Craig's going to be one of those guys you're going to be able to finish, man. Just get. The dude has beaten guys like Uncle Liev. The dude has beaten guys like Jamal Hill. He has beaten former champs. I'm like, Kamaru, this fight is going decision, and it's pretty much what I called. But looking aside, fight at MSG, you're fighting in front of the damn president, and then this crowd freaking boos you, man. Like, what's going through your mind at this time?
Yeah, it's interesting because that's never really happened to me. Of course, in my wrestling career, for the most part, the crowds are cheering for me. Maybe if I go into Iowa or go to Oklahoma State, I get a couple boos, but they respect my performance, and I do what I do at the end of the day. And, to have that happen in a big fight, I think it would have been easy to get emotional about it. But I feel like because I'm so prepared mentally and because I've dealt with so many high intensity situations competing, that it didn't really faze me. And I think that when I look at my performance, there's definitely a lot of things that I can do better. There's always things you can do better, always things that I'm looking to improve and work on. But I'm also really happy with being able to get 15 minutes in the cage. And, if we look at my total octagon time before this fight, it's like way less than that, So I over doubled my experience in the cage, which I'm so grateful for. And it's something that I think is going to pay dividends down the line, right? Like, if I go on this streak of just knocking everybody out in the first round or submitting everybody in the first round, then that's eventually going to end. And I would rather it end with a guy like Paul Craig than a guy like, Hamzat or Dricus or one of these guys that are absolutely the top of the top. So, for me, I'm really grateful for it. And of course the fans, they want to see blood. They want to see a knockout. They want to see something exciting and crazy. And that's something that I definitely want to do. But my priority is just keep improving and getting better at fighting. And I think that this was the best thing for my career.
That's great, bro. It's like they said to me so many times, sounds like you got a great head on your shoulders there, well, that's such a great assessment. And it's tough it's great when you can actually peel it back and understand it like this and really take it in. First and foremost, we're all sensitive. We have to be. You being sensitive about your craft means you care about it. You being sensitive about what someone that you kind of respect says about your craft is okay, because that means you want to get better. You want to be the best. So any little thing that someone says that you somewhat respect is going to affect you in a certain type of way. Now there's nothing like this sport. There's nothing like this sport, and there's nothing also like our fans. They loved you 2 fights ago, right? They loved you 2 fights ago. And then you're in this fight last Saturday, and they're did you hear them screaming overrated?
Yeah, I did.
They started so
no, you didn't, Kamaru.
Yeah.
No,
So-
you didn't just say that.
So that's the thing. I want you to understand something. That's the thing is there's nothing like our fans. That's what makes them so great. But at the same time,
Or
they could be a
lame.
pain in the ass. They could be a pain in the ass. You hit the nail on the head. Yes, you getting that experience is so important. So you know that you can go there, because there's nothing like fighting, because 1 minute you're in control and then it can change like that to where this guy's pressing forward and your heart starts to waver, and it's like, oh shit, you start to doubt yourself. Can I do this? Can I not do this? It happens like that. But the only way you overcome that is when you've been there. You have that experience by going 15. And next it's going to be 25. So I think it's great that you acknowledge that now. But I want to say to you is, people are going to, fans are like, I went through this heavy, and Henry, I'm sure you went through this too. The fans are going to love you 1 minute. But the moment you don't give them the taste of what they want, that blood, oh, it's different. And so what I want to know is like I said, you have a great head on your shoulders, but how are you handling it? Because I know I was sensitive at that time. I was sensitive about it. How are you handling all this? All of a sudden, they loved me for less than a year ago. Now they flip-flop on me? How are you handling that?
Yeah, it's definitely not like the best feeling in the world. I want people to cheer for me. I want people to like me and to want to support me and stuff. And I think that it hurts my pride. It hurts my ego. And, I don't want, I want my performances to be spectacular every single time. And so, I would say that the fans, it bothers me, but I also feel like at the same time, it's down on the priority list relative to like my career, my health, my development. At the end of the day, like, this is prize fighting, and I'm trying to go out there and be world champion and make as much money as I can. And I came out, relatively unscathed. I got a little black eye. That's it. And, really didn't get hit at all. I never got rocked, nothing like that. And so, I'm happy with that. I would say the thing that probably like bothered me the most is when I went and watched back the fight, I felt like the commentary, I talked about DC and his commentary post-fight, and he clarified his opinions on the fight, and I appreciated that. But it just seemed to me like I felt like the striking, I was dominating the fight, and he landed a bunch of kicks on my arms that I blocked, but it seemed like anytime he did the most minor thing, it was like he did something amazing. When I was like knocking his head back, kicking him in the calf, crushing him in the body. And, it's hard because like, even, I try to be very honest and very realistic with myself. After my fight with Cody Brundage, I was like, that was absolute garbage. That was trash. Even though I submitted him, I was like, I was so impatient, so rushed. I did not fight well. And I could admit that. This fight, I felt like, he didn't even have a single big moment in the fight. And people were talking about, the commentaries talking about how he did so well. I don't know if kicks to the arms now are like the biggest factor in who wins a fight. But to me, I just felt like he didn't have any big moments, any good moments, and I had a lot of them. And so that was it was hard to hear that.
You're right, Bo, but I want you to understand something too, is part of the reason why that happens is because there's such high expectations for you, which is good. It's very good. I know it stings us. I've been through there. I've been through there. I went to a fight. I came out, dominated the guy. I got done. I was like, man, yeah, I just dominated this guy. And I came into the fight at 30% health-wise. Oh, they killed me, bro. I'm telling you, I stayed off the internet for like 5 days. 5 days. I didn't check my IG. I didn't check nothing. 5 days. And not even that. Even gets worse. I fought Masvidal, Fight Island. Dominated him for 5 rounds. Oh.
I was there for that, bro.
Were you at Fight Island?
Yeah, dude. Masvidal had me come freaking help him out.
Oh, my God. So you flew on that jet with them, right? I'm sure that was miserable.
It was rough.
Oh, I'm sure that was miserable.
You flew on a jet?
On a jet from here to Abu Dhabi. Oh, my God.
About that small one, right? It's like a 14 passenger?
Yeah, bro. I knew we were in trouble when we stopped in Rome and he had a slice of pizza. I was like, that's not good.
but listen, we get done with that fight. I stayed off the internet for a week.
Wow.
That's how mad people were with me with that. So I want you to understand something here. It's because they have high expectations of you. Yeah. So you have to take that in.
But you know what? I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. I personally feel, and again, I've said this on Pound for Pound. I think you should lay into the hillside. I think you should play the hill. I mean, if dudes,
but Henry, not everybody's like that.
But if you play with it, if you're able to have fun with it, then you're good. I think, and I talk about this all the time. I think if you're something that Vince McMahon, they're probably the greatest promoter of all time. If you think about it, the WWE acting. But there's one thing that he always said that really changed. He says as long as you make people emotionally, if you can affect them, emotionally invested, dude, you're good. You're doing your job. So I think if I was in your position and they're doing X, Y, and Z, because you might get it again, even if you do get a dominant performance, like people are gonna know that shit. Like MMA fans, they know it's getting to you. Like they're gonna continue it. You know what I'm saying? I forget which fighter that was like that. People just didn't like. I think even John Jones went through it. John Jones went through for him. No, I'm sorry, Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier was fighting dudes, beating dudes. All of a sudden, he would get on the mic, boo, 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 boo. And what did Daniel Cormier do? You know what, boo? That's what your damn breath smells like. Like he was able to kind of turn the tables and actually do that. So my 2 cents on that, Bo, is I think you lay into it. I really do. If I'm in your position, because you said it right now, we're prize fighters. We're prize fighters, but we're also businessmen too. You know, so Sam Bree's like, yeah, of course. For me, when I first became, when I won the Olympic champion, like you want to be honorable, you want to go the Jordan Burroughs route, shaking the hands, like even the wave is a little different. But then once I got to MMA, I'm like, dude, these dudes are fucking like, these fans want to see blood. Like you got to create that perfect storyline to where you get them emotionally involved. And then I was able to do that, man. So to me, I was able to literally have fun with it, become someone.
How were you able to do that, Henry?
Someone with the Kurt Angle stuff. No, I was just able to, like, you know what? I got to change, man. Like if I'm boring or if I'm not, I got to be able to kind of tune in and chime in with the people according to what they actually want. So you kind of give them what they want, but you do it your style. Like for me, like I am a little cornball. I am corny. And I've always been like that.
Not us.
For those who really know me. But what do you do is you just amplify it. So I think you're in a great position, Bo, to where, one, you're undefeated. Two, you have maybe it's a relationship that you do have with President Trump. Maybe that has a lot to do with maybe you, maybe the UFC also because of that, and Dana White putting you on these big cards, like, and rightfully so, as you should. So even as a fan, you're probably getting a little bit of that hate. But as long as you make them emotionally involved. But moving forward, Bo, what's next for your career, man? Obviously, you've brought up Khamzat Chimaev's name up. You're about the only guy that's really bringing up his name, because to a lot of people, Khamzat Chimaev is the most dangerous fight. Why Khamzat Chimaev, Bo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, first off, I really appreciate that advice from both of y'all. Everything you guys say, I absolutely take it to heart, because you guys have been where I want to be. And, coming from the same background as me, I try to learn from the best. So I appreciate you guys, any advice that you have. As far as what fights I want and, the way I see my career going, my goal has always been to be, UFC champion, pound for pound, #1 fighter in the world. And so when I call out guys like Khamzat, that's because I think that he's really good and I want to fight the best guys. And so that's, I think that this last fight, even though people didn't love the performance, was a great step in the right direction. I dominated a veteran, a guy who has 26 fights for 3 straight rounds. And with just using striking, I didn't even use my biggest asset. And I think people now are saying, oh, Bo, no, he can't wrestle this or that. Like, bro, trust me, I could wrestle. Like, you know, I could – you could put me in the World Championship, the Olympics, any of the toughest tournament with the toughest guys in the world right now off 0 wrestling matches in the last 4 years, and I'd still pick me. And so I think that I'm just going to keep winning. I definitely have to get a few more fights under my belt before I'm fighting ranked guys and top 5 guys, but I think I'll be there shortly. You know, I'm 7-0. I've had whatever now 4 fights in the UFC, and I'm already fighting guys like Paul Craig's been ranked at light heavyweight and middleweight for most of his career. He's beaten tons of ranked guys, and he was just ranked before his last fight. So, you know, I think that it's just going to be a couple more fights before I get there, and I'm just going to keep getting better, keep getting more experience, getting more comfortable, and keep taking advice from guys like y'all. You know, you, Kamaru, DC, those are guys that I look at and who, you know, I want to emulate, and I want to learn everything I can and get to that point in my career where I'm dominating, and that's the plan.
You guys know at Pound for Pound, we're all about performance, whether it's in the octagon, on the mic, or between the sheets. That's where our sponsors at Rose Sparks come in. Rose Sparks is a dual action treatment that begins working in an average of 15 minutes once dissolved. That means more confidence, more satisfaction in the bedroom.
Rose Sparks stays active in your system for up to 36 hours, so you're ready when the mood hits. Roll connects guys with the Roll-affiliated medical provider. 100% online and ships direct to your door if prescribed. No wasted time in waiting rooms or long commutes to the doctor's office.
If prescribed, you'll get $15 off your first order of medication to get hard when you sign up for a recurring plan.
That's ro.co/P4P. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety-info. Okay, so me and Henry, we kind of had this debate a little bit here on the show, Henry. And Henry Kane Eli here. Okay, so we're looking at we're kind of trying to decide what's next for Bo Nickal. And now think about it. And I like we said, I've been through your position. I've been through where you've been through, and you know, got to the other side. And so by getting to the other side, I know now what the journey looked like and what it should look like, not just as a competitor, not just as a future champion, but also as a businessman. And so by looking at the landscape of things, and Henry goes, oh, yeah, I'll give him Israel Adesanya right now. And I said, hold on, bro. Flag on the play. Pump the brakes. First of all, we're 4 fights in.
You're
yeah. Did you not say that? Don't get tight now.
I said stylistically, if Bo decides to go
he can wrestle.
that route, you give him Israel
we'll go that route. See, Bo, now he's backpedaling.
He's one fight away, or if he beats a guy like Israel Adesanya, dude,
he fight for the title.
He's fighting for the title.
But I'm assuming you're on your second contract right now.
Yep.
Exactly. So on a second contract, I'm not making top 15 money. I mean, well, you probably are because they see you as a future star. But why want to fight top 15 when I'm not making that money yet? Any fight right now before I get there is experience. Oh, you are putting in the time. You've dedicated almost 2 decades of your life, probably more, into combat sports. So why not? Why am I rushing when I have the goal there? I know I'm going to get there. The company knows I'm going to get there. I can take my time, knock off that guy, then I get there.
Yeah, but Kamaru, can I tell you something?
What's up?
Bo may be thinking different. He may want to be in and be out. Be in and be out. Become champion and be out, dude.
But if you be out, you become champion and be out.
That was my plan. So my plan was to become champion and boom, deuces, I'm out. And look, I stayed a whole lot longer than what I really actually wanted. So it really depends on what Bo wants to do. What I'm saying, Bo, is maybe you call somebody out and maybe you get a big fight with the fight that's favorable. And I just said Israel Adesanya. Of course, Kamaru, it is a hypothetical, but stylistically, I think Bo gets it done and he can win that fight, fights for the belt. Let's say he does win it. cruise out to the sunset. Do what you do. Go golf with President Trump.
But
Am I
Bo
crazy,
has-
Bo, for thinking like that? Because Kamaru,
Bo has
you know?
aspirations. Bo has aspirations to be champion, and I'm
Yeah.
Let's
making
let
it.
Bo talk. Let's let
yeah,
Bo talk.
I'm repping Bo here.
I just say it all depends.
back.
It all depends how long Bo actually wants to fight for. Because not everybody wants to be in this fucking game forever, Kamaru. And that's the reality.
You know,
he's been competing his whole life.
Yeah.
Tell me how many wrestling matches you probably this guy probably has 1,000 wrestling matches, Kamaru.
Oh, a lot more than that.
See what I'm saying?
There, from about, it's interesting. So from about 10 years old to, I would say 15, I was averaging close to 200 matches a year. So I did 1,000 matches from 10 to 15. But the thing about me that I think really kind of defines how this decision is made is I just love fighting. I genuinely love it. It's so much fun for me, and I love learning every single aspect of it. Striking, jiu-jitsu, clinch work on the cage, still learning wrestling to this day. I'm still training with Penn State, so I just love everything about combat sports. And my plan is not about how fast I get to the title. It's about my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th title defense. And so I'm not planning on fighting at 40 years old, but I'm only 28. I still got a long career ahead of me. I could see myself, fighting into my mid-30s without a doubt. And I've been fortunate to be very healthy, 0 injuries. I feel better than I ever have in my entire life. I think wrestling, being bent over in a stance, is so hard on your neck, your back, your shoulders. Now I'm going to stand upright. I feel 100 times better. And so I'm totally fine to slow play everything and just get experience. And then, when the time comes that I get my shot, then I'm going to be fully prepared for it. And the plan is to dominate these guys. It's not to go out there and win a split decision or, hopefully I get lucky. It's to go out there and destroy whoever the next best guys in the world are. So that's what I'm training for. And that's kind of the way I see my trajectory and the plan for my career.
Yeah, I love that. I love that mindset, because that's when I came in. That was my mindset. It was just like, I don't care. And like I said, being through kind of where you went through, I went through those where I think for my first maybe 4 fights or at least 4 out of the first 5 fights, I was beating guys 10-8, 10-7 rounds. But they were just, take them to decision, and no one really loved that. And it was just like, I'm dominating all this guy, but no one really loved it. So I love the approach here. First of all, Henry, let's get it out of the way. They're not going to put you up against Sharabullah, because right now, because he's an exciting guy that they can build.
Do you agree with that, Bo?
But Bo's going to take him down and dominate him.
Yeah,
and this is a guy who has a deficiency when it comes to the groundwork. There's no way they're going to do that.
But he's number 13.
They wouldn't match it up, It would be an easy fight, but for me, there's no problem in that fight. But let's talk about it realistically.
Unless you ask for it, unless you create a storyline, and that's kind of what I'm trying to tell you, Bo. If you create that storyline and you step on those toes and you're able to sell it, then it changes.
That's
a little
true.
bit.
You're right, Henry. That's true.
There's possibility.
He loses to MVP, Bo. He loses to MVP. You know what the UFC does? All right. Let's kill him a shark. Boom. That's how it is, bro. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's the facts, Kamaru.
Yeah, you're right. But Bo, I want to know for you realistic. You're right, but you're wrong, Henry. Since you want to double down, let's do it.
I'm right and I'm
you're
wrong. Okay.
You're wrong. Bo, you have aspirations, and the company sees that in you. I want you to understand that as well. They do see that in you. That's why they're putting you on MSG, the fight before the co-main event of the evening, because they do see that. They see you as a future star, so they're going to do the best that they can to help you get there. But at the same time, you have to go out there and you have to put on these performances. So the Shara fight, that's not going to happen, because Shara is also a guy that they see high hopes in. It's a bad style matchup right now. Not saying that eventually Shara's not going to get better in his ground game and be able to stop a guy like you, or not saying you can't get better at your striking and be able to stand and knock him out. It could happen, but not right now. But what I want to know from you is, you're looking at that top 15. Let's say, no, we don't want to go above 10 yet. Let's keep you from that 10 to 15. Who do you see as the style that's going to be difficult, but this is a guy that's going to potentially bring out what I need to bring out so these fans can shut up and stop
Woo!
trying to say
I
I'm
like that,
overrated.
Kush. I like that. I had that in mind too.
That's a good question. I think that, what the thing about the UFC and the thing about where we're at is these guys are the best fighters in the world. And I think the UFC puts on 50 shows a year and they get to see these guys week in, week out. And maybe they get a little desensitized to how good these guys are at fighting. You see something and every weekend, and all of a sudden it just becomes normal when these guys, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of these guys are putting in 10, 20 years into their craft. And so any guy in the top 15, any from 15 to 10 is a tough fight. And there's nobody in the UFC that isn't good, right? You can take any of these guys, even these guys that I'm knocking out and destroying, put them on a regional promotion and they're an all-star. They're the best guy in the entire organization. So, it's something that for me, I'm totally excited to fight all the best guys. And I think anybody in the 10 to 15 range poses interesting, tests, interesting threats. You look at, I don't know the top 15 exactly, but I'm thinking guys like
Pereira's there,
Pereira, Anthony Hernandez, maybe
Sharabulla is there,
Sharbullet, Kopilov, Dolidze,
yes.
Yeah, Paulo
even
Costa, Secret Juice.
Even I know a guy, he bounces up and down from 70 to 85, but like Kevin Holland, he's got a lot of knockout wins. So it's like guys like that, they all posed interesting threats, and they're all guys that I could, have trouble with, or guys that, but at the same time, I believe in my skill set. I believe in what I'm capable of doing. And, as I continue to train and work more on the striking, work more on the jiu-jitsu and blending it all together, I think I can also dominate a lot of those guys and make it look easy. But it's just about getting better, improving. And if I look at, I've been fighting MMA professionally for just over 2 years. So, my improvements.
Think about that, Kamaru. Think about that. Think about what he's got
yeah.
in 2 years.
I started in the late summer of 2022, and now I'm featured bout at MSG in end of 2024. And so where am I going to be at the end of 2026, right? Like, I think the trajectory is really high, and all I got to do is stay on that same path. And I know the work that I put in every day. I don't think anybody puts in as much work as me when I'm looking at not only the physical, technical training side of it, but the film study and, just trying to develop my fight IQ. I don't think anybody watches as much film as I do. And so I think that's where I'm making up a lot of ground on these guys, and I'll continue to make up ground.
Low key, I think you mugged me. I think you mugged me in the back. Now that I'm replaying in my head, I think I was at MSG one time, and I think you mugged me heavy. I was like, yo, is that he just?
Bro.
See,
I said stay down at 70, bro.
Did you say?
Yeah. Did you say that, Bo?
Did you say that?
No.
But I think I remember.
I would advise Kamaru to stay on that 7-year old.
Wow. Well, speaking of that, Bo. So Henry and I, we both lost our last fights. The last two fights going in there, we both lost, and for the first time, really, in those fights, we were taken down, which never really happens. So it's kind of one of those things to where I feel like nowadays, since the sport changed, we've seen the evolution of the wrestlers, kind of like the new guys and the new wave of guys coming in to carry on that torch of the new level of wrestler. And so you saw it with when DC and Rashad and these guys were there. Before them, the Randy Couture's and the Chael Sonnen, these guys were in there. And then you see the Josh Koscheck, and then you see the DC and John and them, and then you see myself, you see Henry, of course. All these guys I feel like you're that new wave. Do you, when you go into fights now, do you feel that responsibility? Because I know I felt the responsibility, like, yo, I'm not letting these bum dudes take me down. No way in hell. But do you feel that responsibility now as that new
Father
wave
time, Kamaru. It's called Father time, dude. But please, bro, carry that torch for us, bro.
Well, 100%. I grew up, wrestling from 5 years old. And so I love the wrestling community. I love representing the wrestlers on this stage. And it's super important for me to go out there and prove that American wrestling is the most dominant form of combat sports. And that's something that I think is true.
Facts.
You know, we don't get a lot of the best guys don't transition over, you know, guys like you transition over, but there's so many good guys that don't. And I feel like for me to transition over young is something that was super cool and exciting, and hopefully motivates other guys to do that as well. And the other thing is that I think that I'm doing that maybe is a little different, or maybe is just the situation. I'm just in a very blessed situation, is I still get to wrestle Nittany Lions every single day. I'm wrestling Aaron Brooks, Carter Strachey, Greg Kirkfleet, you know, these guys that are the best wrestlers in the world, you know, 3-4 days a week. So, you know, I don't, and I've just been in a fortunate situation where I can still do that. You know, most guys obviously have to transition their MMA training to a place where they don't have those opportunities. But yeah, I'm still heavy into the wrestling. You know, I'm watching the Penn State duels in person, going to the NCAAs, cornering guys at the Olympic trials, at the US Open and stuff. So, you know, I'm super heavy into that community and still training a lot. And I want to keep dominating. Yeah. I look, you know, at my potential for matchups in the future. And, you know, with Paul Craig, it's like his best position's off his back. So, you know, I didn't think it was the best situation to put him in his best position, but there's really no other guys like that. So you can guarantee that every single guy, I'm going to be taking them down. And, you know, there's a very, very low chance. I'm not going to say zero because crazy things happen. I could slip on a banana peel or something, but
me too.
Yeah. Very low chance that they're taking me down. And if they do, I'm getting up, guaranteed.
Yeah. But you know what? You just mentioned them. You talked about Carter Strachey. You talked about Aaron Brooks. Kirk Flee. I mean, dude, the Penn State wrestling room is one of the best, if not the best wrestling room in the world when it comes to pure just talent. I mean, you have world and Olympic champions. What Cal and Cody, what they've been able to form is absolutely ridiculous. But how many of those guys? Because you said it's like not the best guys are transitioning. How many of those guys? How many of your teammates are maybe looking like, you know what, Bo's having an influence on me? I may want to throw some hands, and I may want to make some easy money because of what wrestling has taught me. I mean, has anybody for a wrestler 100%, 100? That's how I always saw. Like, you know what, I'm gonna fight because wrestling. You win a tournament, $3,000. You fight 30. I'm like, whoa. Different.
You know, there are a lot of guys that have been dipping their toes in. You know, all three of those guys that I mentioned, Brooks, Strachey, Kirkfleet, they're all have been in the gym and training, and, you know, just trying to figure out, you know, if that's something they're interested in. We actually just had a guy, this was a first, which is really cool, but he's still on the Penn State team currently. His name is David Evans. He's our backup at 141, but definitely like a top 10, top 8 type guy. He's just behind Bo Bartlett, who is national finalist. Yeah. And he just got an amateur fight a month ago, and he's still in school. So we have guys that are on the team currently getting amateur fights, and, you know, he took the guy down, submitted him in about 45 seconds. And so we're looking to really build something big, especially with the talent base that we have at Penn State. And I'm always honest with the guys. I'm like, you know, I don't ever try to tell a guy you should fight or you shouldn't fight. It's just, got to be on your heart. It's got to be something that you just feel like, I need to do this. If you tell a guy to get into a fight and then he gets in a fight and it's not for him, like, it's not the same consequences as wrestling or as other sports. It's like, you're going to get elbowed in the face. You can end up in the hospital. Like, it's not a joke. So that's where I'm just like, I don't really try to motivate anybody to do it, but if they want to do it, then I'm down to help them. And I have this idea and I want to run it by you guys, but I think it would be so cool to get all of the best American wrestlers and do a couple day long summit, like once a year, like let's say in the summer when everybody can, you know, get everybody in one place and all of us just train together, you know, all the best American wrestlers that are fighting. Right. And like guys like you guys like DC, John Jones, whoever. Maybe not them two. That might not work well together. But guys that have American wrestling background and just teach the young kids, because I want to learn from you guys. And these guys that are younger than me, I think it's even, it's just that important. I think to stick together, it would be something that I think would be really cool.
No, for sure. Count me in, bro. I'm in, Bo. Whenever you decide to do it, I would love to go out there.
It would be, I love it, and it could come to fruition. I mean, especially when you got a booster like that's behind the Penn State program, or a booster like behind the new OSU program. So yeah, if they really want something like that to happen, it could happen. It's just obviously when you're in a position like you are in now, where now you're being recognized everywhere, where you go here, go there, you're being recognized, and your attention, your time now is in high demand. It makes it a little difficult to do, but
of course,
we love what you're doing so far. We see the journey because we've been through a similar journey, and so for us from the outside now, watching your career start to get off the ground, we always want to be able to obviously throw gems at you that, hey, watch out for that, or hey, that's gonna happen, because it is happening now. You are starting to see it, but the one thing that I would say, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, of course, you want to be the best, and you are going through, and you have those aspirations for yourself. But also understand that this is a sport of entertainment, and in that, when it becomes that, then now you become a businessman, and so you have to take it like that.
So you're giving them my advice, Kamaru. Is that what you're doing?
I was saying
am I getting the credit?
You're a businessman. But that doesn't mean you have to change who you are. But that just means understand and don't take everything to heart. Because, the fans, they're going to love you one minute, but then the next minute you suck, or the next minute you're overrated. So you have to be able to take that with a grain of salt and know that, hey, I have high aspirations for myself, and I'm going to get there eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And if I could, Bo, I think the biggest thing is I think Kamaru hit everything on the head. I just think technically, I think because you do like that high-low very well, I feel like you really got to change up that combination, man. I feel like sometimes you got a level change, maybe half jab kick. The level, it doesn't always have to be that same shot. I know you got it before in the past. I think on that technical level, because I know your mind is there. I know how good you could get. And I think you got to switch up your setups and really narrow in on your setups, on your fakes, feints. And then the other thing would be is being careful with that lead leg, man. Like understanding distance a little bit more, like being 3-4 inches just a little further out where you're able to evade the kick, but be able to come in and actually hurt them. And I think technically those are the things that I see. If you can, maybe bring in a little bit more setups, different setups, and just adding another combination or two. I think other than that, dude, what you've been able to do in 2 years of fighting is absolutely ridiculous. I think take your time. If that's the case, I think pick your fights. And what Kamaru was saying is use a mouthpiece, man. Use a mouthpiece. These MMA fans, they will swallow you. They will eat you and shit you out, dude. And you cannot allow them to do that. So the way you do it is you fucking adjust, man. And I think with you adjusting, next time they boo you, not boo you. That's what your breath smells like.
Well,
you're able to
do all that.
You're able to still be entertained because the fans, the people that your real fans are your family and friends, bro. That's just the reality, man. Everybody else is bandwagon, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're witnessing that now, Bo. So don't beat yourself up. I personally, in the beginning, I didn't like that fight with Padre. I'm like, Bo, keep these other guys. But either way, it was still a dominant performance. Don't beat yourself up. And I see the future with you. A potential fight in the future, man, is with when you guys are in your guys' prime, is you and Cajon Boralho, man. In the future, fighting for a championship bout. Or you know what I mean? Maybe because the dude is young. He's really good. He's a real mixed martial artist, and obviously you're coming up. So that's one fight that I could say that I would love to, that I foresee in the future, that would be freaking super entertaining, man, for us.
100%. Yeah. No, I think I agree with that. And yeah, thank you guys so much. literally, I'm not even joking. That advice, it means the world to me. It means the world to hear that from you guys, both you, Henry, and you, Kamaru. Again, you guys have been there. You guys have done what I want to do. And that knowledge and experience that you have is so valuable. And so anything that you guys share with me, I 100% take it to heart. And I'll be working on, the business aspect of the sport and, kind of being able to roll with the punches per se, and as well as, working on the technical aspects of it. I love your breakdowns of fights. So I'm always watching the YouTube, and I'll be adding in feints, different combinations, and setting things up. So yeah. I can't wait to get back out there and compete again, but I appreciate y'all's insight a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Bo, man. And it takes two to tango. Someone is going to step in there. That's you might have not showed it, the combination, or you might have not showed it that last fight, but someone's going to step in there that's going to make you show it. You're going to be surprised. You're like, oh, shit, I can do that. You shock yourself each and every time. So just know that it takes two to tango. But, my man, thank you for hopping on here with us. Thank you for chatting it up with us. We look forward to watching you and watching you continue to grow as a mixed martial artist and eventually becoming, that world champion that we all know you can.
World champion and pound for pound.
And pound for pound. Yes.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
fight
sir.
with you and Hamza. Woo!
Let's do it.
The world wants to see that. But, yeah, thank you for coming on, my man. Good luck hunting. I know you're out there in Grand Junction, my old stomp. I used to run through that place, beat up someone or two. So, yeah, we appreciate you, my man. Go have fun, man. And congrats again on the victory.
Will do. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Well, Henry, that was us just having a chat with our man, Bo Nickel, Henry. You gave some terrible advice, but but it was great as usual, Henry, and I think Bo Nickel is definitely, he has the capability to be a pound for pound world champion, undisputed champion. But as always, Henry, you know who I am. You see the guns. I'm the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
And from guest Bo Nickel, we